No way, it's Luna. Oh, and I got a sapphire. 2 sapphires. Okay, okay. That ain't bad. I ain't complaining. I'm shy. Well, too bad. Too bad. It's always the shy women, isn't it? Oh my lordy lord. Oh my god. I have no food. I don't know why I use my DBX spec right now. Oh shit.
Hello, are you here to debate?
Yes, I am.
All right. Can I just get your name, age, and pronouns, please?
Kevin, 30, he, him.
Kevin, 30, he, him. Okay. Kevin, what topic did you want to debate about today?
I wanted to kind of talk about
Maybe.
the men and women, the trans topic you have on there.
Okay, what about it?
Well,
Hi, Pink. Hee. I will, Luna. Ooh, look at that bun. Share with Pink if she wants to wear it. Of course. Yeah, I already let Carly wear it. She got some screenshots with it. Hey. Not bad. Wait, you had to go do what? Exercise? I have blue hair now and pronouns. I don't use pronouns.
don't believe that people can
Oh, it's Pink. Oh,
kind of switch
hi.
what they are.
You don't believe people can. We switch what we are all the time as people. What are you talking about? Sort of one of the big. Well, in like most senses, right? Like, if I'm fat. If I don't want to be fat, I'll go to the gym, right? And then I would switch who I am. I would no longer be a fat man. Some people
No,
want to
that's not
switch.
switching who you are.
That's not switching
That's not
who I.
switching your biology.
That's absolutely changing my biology.
How did it change your biology?
Enjoy
It
Beat
changed your DNA.
Saber. Hey.
Wait, there's a difference between biology and DNA. Biology would encompass everything about us on a biological level. Are you just talking about DNA changes?
Well, I'm just saying, like, it didn't change like who you are.
What do you mean? I would be a I would be a I would like essentially be a different person, right? Like I would go through life as a different person because I'm no longer fat.
You would probably be like a happier person if you lost a whole bunch of weight. But I don't
Yeah,
think that necessarily
like
like
Yeah,
changes.
I'm gonna accessorize tonight with the white party hat. I had no idea Luna was even gonna be on, to be honest.
it would
Who you
absolutely
are
change
on a
it.
biological level.
It would absolutely
Any
change my
plans?
biology.
Literally no. Like, I have no fucking idea what I'm gonna do today. I stretched that out too much. Yeah, I'm I do not have a plan. It's Monday night. I'm probably just gonna jail with my bros, you know. Okay, that was actually a really good trip. Good drops that trip. Very nice. Why do you always cause trouble the second I do anything, bro? Like, chill. Psst. Stop being crazy. Stop it. You were just being a little angel. It looks like I'm topless on stream. Oh my god. No, I'm totally not topless right now. That would be crazy if I was, so that would be extremely risky. Hmm. Well, I don't need that for the moment. Oh hey, Pink, you know that Dragon Battle Axe I let you borrow? You can just keep it. Because I went and got a new one anyway. What? What? I'm such a gamer. Yeah. It's the least I could do. Well, let me get some food out for the kitty. I did not mean to pick him up again. Pick up Pepper Pie. Okay. Let's see.
Change who I am. You tell me there aren't tons of people who've gone to the gym and are like completely different people now that they've lost a bunch of weight? Yeah, they're completely different people. If you're just talking about on a DNA level, is it changing your DNA? Sure, it's not. Nothing changes your DNA, but I don't know why I would be worried about DNA when I'm talking about what makes somebody a man and what makes somebody a woman.
Okay, do you believe if I don't know like all the proper terms, so I might butcher some of these.
Blue
But if
hair.
a trans man, so what is that would be a someone that would be sex of a female or a woman transition to be a male or a man, that's who they always were.
They like if that is the gender identity they like land on, like yeah, that's probably who they've always been the whole time. Most of the trans people that I've spoken to have said that they just sort of pretend when they're being the identity that they don't align with, right? They're just
Hey,
pretending because like
I
either
hope
their
so.
family or society around them is like stigmatizing them on their transition, and that when they come out as trans, that's them being their true selves.
Okay, so that's
Hmm.
who they truly were from the beginning,
Why'd
and then
you
when they
black
were
piggies
Possibly.
like that?
what society called them,
The bathrooms up here.
that was them pretending.
Yeah, that's a way
That's
that
what
I've
you're
had it.
saying.
Hey,
That's a way that I've had it
okay.
described to me. Yes.
Bathroom table.
Okay,
Oh
my
my
question on that.
gosh.
Uh,
You just shit
what
on the
about if they want to
chair.
transition back?
Yeah, I'd say that like if well, it depends on which people you're talking about. Are you talking about like permanent detransitioners? Then they just were missing they misunderstood their gender identity to begin with. But that makes up like
Ah.
3% of people.
Well, I mean, the trans community makes up a very small percentage
Where's
as
the
well.
bucket? That's what I'm saying. You need a bucket in there. Okay. I guess I'll change my clothes a little bit. Might as well.
Oh, but
Yeah, so you're looking at
you're talking. Okay,
3%
so
of
there
a
were people
3%.
that went. Yeah, well, yeah, but I mean, you guys look at very small numbers, so I can't. I mean, the whole thing itself
Well,
is
you
going to be
can.
very small
It's
numbers.
just I don't
So
understand what the point you're making. Like, what is the overarching point? Like, yeah, some people
my premise,
detransition. What's
Okay,
the?
but you're saying that these people, that's who they were from the very beginning.
I
And
said
when they
that's.
were
I
living,
said that
what they
can
were
be the
born as.
case. Hold on, hold on. I said that can be the case, and that it's been described to me by trans people themselves that this is what they experience. It's obviously not going to be the case for every single person.
Okay, but my thing
Some
is, I'm
people
trying
come
to
out as
figure
like a
out.
trans woman and then realize, oh shit, I was actually just trans non-binary, and then they are no longer trans, right? But the overwhelming amount of people who come out as
That's a
gender
good band right
incongruent,
there. Great
they
band.
remain with that gender incongruency. They
Okay,
don't.
but
That
you're
doesn't leave.
kind of, yeah, you're elaborating my point, kind of. So I don't believe that you can just change. You can't just wake up one day and say, actually, I feel different today. Now I'm gonna be this whole other sex. I think,
Well,
okay,
first of all, you're not
male,
really.
you're a man.
We're not. Hold on. We're not
If
talking
you're
about
born-
sex, though. We're not talking about sex. Can you?
Bro, nobody does that. I'm just gonna wake up and fuck my whole life up, by the way.
We're talking about gender. So could you do me a favor and could you give me a functioning definition?
Since
for
when
gender?
was Rage Against the Machine political?
There is?
Yeah, it's gonna be male or female.
That would not be a definition of
It's
gender.
gonna be sex.
Wait. So you're telling me gender as a definition for gender is just your sex?
I mean, I don't know the actual definition.
I don't need the
changed over
actual
time.
definition, right? I just want you to provide me any
Just
sort
lie.
of functioning
Yeah, just
definition.
lie.
So that way we can go under, like, it doesn't have to be the actual one, but we need to be able to
Well
have this
deserved.
conversation
It's not
knowing
even my party hat.
specific terms we're talking about and what they mean. So if I'm asking you for a functioning definition of gender, just a definition that is functional in a conversation, can you provide one of those?
What is yours?
Well, I would define gender as physical, psychological, behavioral attributes typically assigned to any given sexes in society. They're largely cultural and social in nature.
Okay, I would probably
Fish and
use
shrimp.
the same one, but
Fish and Bubba
I
Gump
would
shrimp.
land on that it's social.
Well, gender would have to be
It's a
social.
social construct.
Gender would have
How
to
is
be
gender,
social.
when it's deeply related to your sex, how is that a social thing?
Anything can be related to something and still be its own thing, right? Like race is social, but it's related to our skin color, which is biological, right? Something can be social and be related to something that's non-social. The reason why gender is a social thing is because, would you agree with the statement that I'm going to say here, that humans are the only species on the planet that utilize gender?
I mean, yeah. I mean, we're the only ones with a vocabulary.
Great. That in and of itself proves that it is a social thing, not a biological thing. If gender was biological, every creature that has sex would also have a gender, but they don't. Gender is something that humans came up with to categorize other humans. It is an entirely social concept that has ties to our biology, but it is a social concept. It's a social construction.
So is sex a social construction?
No, sex is a biological factor tied to species that reproduce. They're
Gender
biological
and sex
character.
is like pretty much the exact same thing.
They're not, and we just proved they're not by explaining what the two difference. If gender and sex was the same thing, every female dog would be a woman, but they're not.
With
People
kindness.
will use gender and sex interchangeably. And I think it's fine that they do that, because typically we as people just sort of understand what they mean when they're doing that. When someone says to me there are a
Oh,
bunch
I
of
need
males over
pots.
there, I understand that what they're really saying is there are men over there, right? But they are not the same.
Okay,
They're just incorrectly used interchangeably.
Okay, so I understand that gender can mean woman and man, and sex would be male and female.
Stop.
Correct.
But I mean, you can't have a man that's a female. You can't have a female that's a man.
Why not?
So I think sex and
Wait, why not?
because it's just how it is. That's just how it is.
It's
It's
just
just
how
what
it
a
is.
man is. Man is male. Men are males. Males are men. Females are women.
Yeah, I'm gonna.
And you're
Why?
talking about the
Yeah,
human,
Kevin,
human population. Human
Kevin,
population.
Kevin. Why does it have to be this way? If you're just saying it has to be this way because it has to be this way, that's not an argument. That's just that's just circular reasoning. It has to be because it has to be. Like there's no argument there. And if you just have no reasoning for why you believe this, it's just because you're tied into some sort of traditional thinking that you've been always tied into. You need to provide an actual logical reason why like somebody who's male can't also be a woman. And it can't just be because I think it's icky. That's bad reasoning.
That's just what it is.
Okay, so you have no reason, Kevin. That's like I hate to tell you this in a debate. If you're in a debate and say, if I were to tell you, Kevin, all like let's just do a thought experiment here. If you asked me if I give you a question, I say all children must be punched in the face because of a tradition of punching children in the face. And you were like, well, why do we have to keep doing that? And I said, we do because we do. Is that that's a nothing burger?
I see what you're saying, and I'm fighting making comments on that, but I mean, I can argue the reason why it is that way, but then it opens the door for your arguments, and I think the reason why
Horny is so fucking crazy, man. Why is he so crazy? Hi, Boskin. I don't know how to pronounce your first name there. Hi, Dan. Thank you. What the fuck? I just seen that. I know he's a tux, but he's just so, like, the second I turn the stream on, suddenly he's crackhead mode. I'm like, bro, you were just napping. Like, can you chill? I played with him so much today.
a lot of men nowadays are more feminine is because of what's pushed out in media. I think if we didn't have a lot of social media nowadays, probably wouldn't have a whole lot of effeminate males.
What do I care if men are effeminate? Who cares? Like, what is it?
Well, because it's like
Who gives a shit?
if we start getting into like characteristics of what like a female is or what a woman would be, well, now like today's society, you're gonna have a lot of males that really feel that way.
It's
So
almost
I can't really
like
make an argument without making your argument almost stronger.
How do you make super attacks? It's Irrit and an Eye of Newt. I think you need 45 or 50 Herblore. I think it's like 50. Maybe I'm wrong. It could be 45. Let me double check. Yeah, it's only 45. All of the Irrits that you have, you just need Eyes of Newt. It's busted. And then if you have a DB Axe, you basically never have to buy super strengths. Unless you want to go PK or something.
But it's literally the stuff that we have going on in society that forces it to be that way.
I'm just gonna let you know if presenting your argument makes it so that my argument is stronger, that's not a good argument on your side.
Well, I know, but what I'm trying to say is that you have a lot of false information spread out in the world, and what they use like half truths, and the things that they provide in like social media and all the stuff that they push on, especially like young people nowadays. It just makes it harder.
But
Because a lot of people believe
none of
Oh,
this.
do these people hear themselves? It's the fucking young people these days. Like, bro, what are you, 90 years old? What the fuck? What are you saying? But it's so I don't get how people can like actually have something like that come out of their mouth. I wonder if she's got any new stand-up material today. Hey chat, don't make me stand up, please. I don't. No.
None of this should even matter to your argument. Your argument or your claim is that the biological proof of us being males or us being females is what makes it so that we cannot be men and women. But you cannot provide me with a reason for why this is the case.
Okay, here's the thing. Okay, so I would say like for female characteristics, we're going to be more like the women are going to be softer. They're going to be more sensitive. They're going to have like all these other characteristics. But then if you look out in the world today, you see a lot more men are having some of these characteristics too. So
How
then you
dare
would kinda
them?
use that
How dare
to
them?
men do this as well. But I feel like they've been lied to about a lot of this stuff, and that's the reason why they feel the way they do.
But this isn't telling me why males must be men. This isn't addressing that claim that you've made.
I just feel like it's been that way from the dawn of time.
Sure, if I came up to you and said it's been that way since the dawn of time that like humans owned slaves, does this make slavery okay?
No.
Okay. So we understand that the reasoning it's just been that way is not valid reasoning.
Well, okay, just because you come up with another name for something and call it something else doesn't mean that it changed what it was.
Okay, so you believe that we're just coming up with another name for what? Women? What do you think we're just coming up with another name for?
Like the way you guys try to use gender nowadays instead of just saying like the sex of something, it's male or female.
Well, you agreed with my definition of
above all, you have to focus in on the gender part rather than being like, hey man, you're a dude.
Yeah, you agreed with my Kevin. You agreed with my.
Hey
you agreed
man,
with my definition
you're a
of gender,
dude.
which means you agree that gender and sex are two different things. Because the functioning definition for gender that I gave you is not a functioning definition for sex.
I didn't completely agree with it. I also said that I don't believe that it's a social construct.
Yeah, but we've proven that it is. I've demonstrated for you that it is a social construct. Do you have a counter argument for my argument that it's a social construct other than it's not? Do you have a counter argument for it?
Not exactly at this time, because the biggest thing that I wanted to try to get into, we kind of didn't really avoid it, but we moved on from it fairly quick, which was the transgender person that is they transition and then they live that lifestyle for a little while and then they transition back. And I've watched some of your stuff before, and you said that that's what they always were, but then that kind of like, well, what about the people that transition back? That was my main argument.
Well, the people that transition back are not
really.
The 3% of people that permanently transition back aren't trans. So yeah, they don't fall into the category I'm labeling. When I'm saying a trans person, like a trans woman, always had the identity of woman. Yes, but if I'm looking at somebody who detransitioned, they were never trans to begin with. They misunderstood their own gender identity and they were cis. That's why they detransitioned back to being cisgender. Those people weren't trans.
Yeah, but the way you described it before, you said that that's what they always were.
Yes, because they were because the people that do remain transitioned are like the people who go through gender transitioning are trans. And the people who detransition were not trans. The people who permanently detransition were never trans to begin with.
What if somebody transitioned for 90 years? And then the last 10 years of their life, they're like, oh my gosh, what was I doing? I was duped this whole time. I can't believe I did this.
Then they weren't trans.
They were never trans.
First of all, there's no evidence that anybody's ever going to take that long to transition. But yes, if they go, oh shit, this isn't who I ever was, then yes, they were never trans. I don't like, that's just kind of.
Oh my god, this guy. He's so fucking dumb. I can't. I'm falling asleep. Dude. Just give up. Just give up. Oh my god.
In today's episode, I'm going to tell you 2 stories. The first story you're going to hear is about this village in Africa where people keep turning up dead and nobody knows why until they do a stakeout. And the second and final story you'll hear is about this remote island in the Arctic region of northern Canada where these indigenous hunters make a truly disturbing discovery. But before we get into today's stories, if you're a fan of the strange, dark, and mysterious delivered in story format, then you've come to the right place because that's all we do and we upload once a week. So if that's of interest to you, please offer to do the like button's grocery shopping, but don't tell them you've squirted an entire bottle of lime juice into their fresh milk. Also, please subscribe to our channel and turn on all notifications so you don't miss any of our weekly uploads. Okay, let's get into today's story.
Well, I actually gave you a high-level herb. You just gave me an unidentified Guam. Shit, I got scammed.
In the middle of the night on March 7th, 2005, a 64-year-old man named John Mangine crouched in the bushes in his little village in Uganda. Several of John's friends and neighbors were also crouching in bushes nearby, and everyone was being totally silent, constantly scanning the area, looking for movement. But so far, nothing had happened, and everyone
Where are
was
my
totally exhausted
MSBs?
and terrified. So John had been around for a long time. He had 9 kids, 31 grandkids, and he remembered a time that was
The
not even
fuck,
that
am
long
I
ago
blind?
when this village was a happy, bustling place where
Jesus.
families and kids could play in
Jesus.
harmony and everyone felt safe. But that all changed 14 years earlier in 1991. Because starting in that year, people in this village started dying. Or more specifically, people in this village started getting killed by something, someone. They didn't know. It was like randomly people would just go missing and then turn up horribly mutilated and deceased, or people just vanished and were never seen again. Over the course of these 14 years, 83 people from this village had been killed and nobody knew why. And 83 people, to put this in perspective, represented 10% of this entire village's population. This was so widespread that everybody in John's village personally knew someone who had been killed by whatever was plaguing this village. And at some point, the people in this village began to think that clearly a demon is responsible for this. I mean, this is so pervasive that this can't be an animal or a person. This is like, God's will or something, or this is, the devil's will. We don't know, but it's supernatural. Like, we can't control this. It just is a part of living here. And so literally this village, the people here, had just grown to accept that, yep, sometimes people just turn up mutilated and dead. There's nothing we can do about it. We just got to live with it. But John, he personally knew several people who had been killed, and he never took the stance of, well, it's supernatural and we can't do anything about it. John's like, no, we need to look into this. There's got to be an actual explanation for what's happening here. And so finally, in 2005, the tipping point was a little boy went missing in the village one morning. And for John, he has all these grandkids, including a bunch of little boys, and he saw this little boy go missing and, he was never found again. And John's thinking, that's just like one of my grandkids. This has to stop. We got to look now. We have to look into this now. And so John very forcefully rounded up some people in the village.
Yo, Luna comes out just to tell me to wear the party hat to KVD. Bro. Oh my god. Okay, shit. Fuck it. I'll do it. I'll wear the party hat to KVD. I've never done KVD before, by the way. Holy shit. On stream? Well, I'll hop worlds, at the very least. Holy moly. It'll give us good luck, We'll get a pet.
His friends and neighbors and others, and he told them, tonight we are going to set up a stakeout and stay out all night if we have to.
Running through Wildy is wild. I have no idea how to even get there other than here. Other than the Artie Lover. Yeah, I have to do that. If somebody's gonna stream snipe, they better come quick. Cause I'm hopping.
Wait for this demon, this creature, this person, whoever it is, we are going to catch them in the act and put an end to this thing. And because John was so motivated, so enthusiastic, and so ready to sort of...
I can't give you a second, Pink. I gotta go. I gotta scoot right now. I'll wait for you when I get there, you know. Yeah, I've got my private off, so good luck. I got a high ass mage level, guys. Don't even try it. Come on, use the knife that's in my inventory. Fucking hell.
lead this thing, he really quickly turned the tide of people's opinions in this village. It's like they went from being, oh, we can't do anything about it, to, you know what, yeah, let's put an end to this thing. And so sure enough, that night, John and all these people he had got together for this stakeout.
Luna, if I die, it's on you. I can't do anything about that. You are the crazy one, not me.
They headed to this area in their village called the Butchery. They had named it that because the majority of the 83 people who had been killed and mutilated and, turned up dead, they were either found roughly in that area, or that's where they were last seen before they vanished. And the Butchery was actually basically right next to this lake, this placid lake that sort of sat right next to the village. So everybody's scared of this lake and this area, but tonight's the night. They're gonna figure out what's happening in this village. And so John and the other volunteers, they make their way over to the Butchery, and they each climb into these tall bushes, these reeds that are right next to the lake, and they all crouch down, kind of keeping their eyes on the land, the Butchery, and also the lake. And there they sat, all of them constantly looking at each other, maintaining eye contact, to stay safe. And they're looking at each other, they're looking at the water, the black water that's totally still, and there's nothing on land, it's still, it's silent. And for hours, they just sat there nervously watching, waiting for something to happen. They didn't know what it was gonna be. They didn't know if, one of the volunteers in the stakeout was suddenly gonna be ripped away by this demon or whatever it was. But all night, on this first night of the
Listen, girls, I ain't worried. Ain't nobody out here. Ain't nobody gonna be patrolling this shit. Come on now.
Stakeout, they're waiting and watching on edge, and nothing happens. And so John the next morning says, we've got to do it again. We got to go back out there and do another stakeout because we know there's something out there. And so sure enough, night 2 rolls around, and now they have even more volunteers. They're motivated. They're out there in the bushes, waiting, watching the lake, watching the land, but nothing happens again. And this cycle continues for 4 more days where nothing happens. John is rallying people every night to keep going back out there, but the group is getting more and more tired. I mean, they're staying out all night. It's also sort of deflating to realize that, it looks like we don't have control over whatever's happening here. Like, we can't catch this thing. We don't even know what it is. And so after 6
there's
days
somebody.
of this, where they have
Level
seen
125.
nothing, no one's been taken,
He's
no
not
one's been
geared.
killed, it's been totally
Rip.
quiet in the village.
Hey.
John rallies the people one more time. He goes, one more night. Give me one more. I know
He
we're gonna
found
catch
me.
something. And so he got the village to kind of agree to go out for one more night. And this night, unlike the others,
I ain't waiting
John
for
decided
you.
to do something different to try to sort of
Oh, I have no
entice
prayer either.
whatever this
That's
creature
nice.
or person or whoever it was, whatever.
Hold on, I gotta focus. Shit. No. I have to. I have to carry out. Oh my god. Dude, I was so unprepared. Oh, fuck this, dude. I'm banking that shit. Ain't no way. No way. Oh, fuck. Okay, I will bring my Seraphil home though. I gotta have something. Anti-fire shield. Hello. Oh, jeez. I vote for a once and never again. Good, good. I'm glad we're all on the same page. I'm not going into the wilderness with the fucking party hat on again. Oh my god. Good lord. Good lord. Here, I'll take a DDS. There we go. Oh my god. My stomach hurts after that. I hope you're happy, Luna. My stomach hurts now. Was that the first party hat in the KBD layer? Yeah, I would say so. Highly likely. That's the first time anybody's been in there wearing a party hat.
Different to try to sort of entice, whatever this creature or person or whoever it was, whatever it was, to entice them out of hiding.
Yo, send the clip to Pizzazz. Come on now.
He and the villagers strung up all this organ meat in the trees right near the butchery, believing that, whoever was killing these people was seeking their meat. And so they put meat up in the trees. And so that night, the 7th night, John and the others, after putting their organ meat in the trees, they crouched down in the bushes, waiting and watching.
Most people are afraid to scale with them. Yeah, Jake. I don't know if you've seen my video after I got Wizzy Boots, but I fucking died to a tree spirit in Cami, and I was lucky I was in Cami too because I could just tele back. But oh my god, my heart was pounding through my chest. Died for Wizzy Boots to a fucking random. There's just no way. Holy shit. Oh yeah, you just gotta be smart and wear a Ring of Life. People will call you a noob, but ultimately you don't die to some bullshit, so.
And it's silent and it's dark. And at first, nothing happens. And as the night goes on, people are starting to think, it's just another night where nothing's gonna happen. And people are starting to get restless, and John's telling them, like, be quiet, stay still, we gotta wait, we gotta watch, see what happens. Hours and hours go by, nothing. But then, between 4 or 5 in the morning, it's still dark out, the water's black, it's still
I'm 24 HP still, great. Great, I'm such a good player.
It's like this low grumbling sound that appears to be coming from the lake. It's hard to tell. The lake was pretty big and it was still dark out. They're looking out at the water and it's just dark. And they're right near the water. And so they're hearing this rumbling sound and everyone's kind of looking out like this is the first time anything has happened during one of these stakeouts. And John, he's telling them, stay down, stay quiet. And they're looking out at the water and it's still. But this rumbling, growling,
Hi, YY.
sound, it starts getting louder.
How are you doing?
Louder and louder. It's so loud at a certain point that John, he can feel his body literally trembling from the sound. And as that begins to happen, even with the minimal light, they're looking out at the black water and they notice ripples on the surface of the water. Something's moving in the lake. And so everybody's looking and waiting. Everyone's scared. John looks over at the other people who are in the other set of bushes right near him, and he can see their eyes are wide. They're terrified. But everyone's looking out at the water. And then eventually this massive, dark silhouette emerges from the lake.
Your walls are pink? Oh yeah, they're pink as fuck. Are you kidding me? We got a bunch of shit up on the walls too. That's my wife's side. This is all my wife's stuff, and then my stuff is all up here. I would show you if I could, but I don't feel like causing an avalanche right now. Trying to shift the computer around. But yeah, it's very cute in here. I got my altar right there. I'm glad you like them. I'm glad you like the pink walls. It's very cozy. Comfy cozy.
Lake. and this loud growl fills the air and everyone's frozen, and then whatever it is charges towards John. But it doesn't go after John. This huge creature runs past John and...
Uh-oh, everybody. It's Luna. Couldn't even get a kill. I forgot my anti-shield, and I had 0 prayer. Oh my god. Made for a fun moment. There we go. I'm gonna do a kill with the party hat myself later then. No. Don't do it. Someone will kill your ass. Okay, I actually wear this shit. Okay, I gotta figure out how the safe spot works. Oh, there's somebody in here too. Who is this? Art? Yeah, I think he just safe spotted around here now. Boo. There's a sapphire. It was a little tricky to set up. Oh, there's Pink too. Hi, Pink. It's a party. Hey. Is Art muted? There's no way. Come on, Art. You can say something now. Don't worry, I got this. Oh, he got hit at 46. Oh my god. Oh, he just hopped. He's gone. Can I just attack it from here? This is a mess. Luna, I thought you said you got this. No, Pink. Oh, it's aggro on me now. Yep. How do you safe spot this fucking thing? It's like not hitting us anymore. Okay, what if I turn this off? Oh, he's still hitting me. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'm specking this bitch ass out. There was some weird stuff you have to do. I don't remember how it works. I mean, you gotta arrange him just right. I can just bring, a bunch of prey pods. Oh, it's still hitting like crazy. It's 20 super rare. The fuck? Can you not? Hi, Sammy. How are you doing? Get anti-fire pots? Oh, well, I thought it would be a safe spot where we wouldn't be getting attacked. Shit. I have 55 range. You're doing good. You gotta parallel park him. Shit. I mean, he looks a little tough to drive. Thank you, Sammy. You're a little safe. I'm not safe. I do not feel safe. I don't. We did it. We did it. Hey. I got a rune bar. Yoink. Holy moly. I'd use like all my Addy arrows to kill it. just chests in here. The layer looks so weird too. Like in old school, it's just a box. It is not a box in here. Myth arrows with 55 range. Oh jeez.
Bites down on the meat dangling from the trees.
I'm so sorry. That just... Oh my god, that got me. I got a vision of the KBD biting. Biting. Oh god. Oh jeez.
But the meat, they had placed hooks in the meat like a trap. And as soon as this thing bit onto the meat, it got snared in one of the traps and it couldn't move. And John, who had been waiting for this moment, even though he has no idea what's happened here, he knew he needed backup. And so he got up and sprinted into the village and began screaming for everyone
This
to come
is
out here and
easy.
help us.
Gets hit
And
at
so
24.
50 villagers came pouring out of their homes.
Careful,
They all
girls.
descended on the tree with all the organ meat and this huge creature dangling and thrashing from the trap. And they suddenly realized that what had been plaguing their village was not a demon. It was instead the
I don't know
largest
what we are doing right
saltwater
now.
crocodile ever found.
How much are anti-fires?
This crocodile was 16 feet long, over 2,000 pounds. I mean, this thing is massive. And for 14 years, this crocodile had been sneaking into the village,
Jesus,
grabbing
relax.
people, and dragging them back to the lake. And nobody
3K
had seen it,
each.
or more specifically, anyone who had seen this crocodile, this beast, did not live to tell the tale. Authorities were quickly called to the village, and they wouldn't allow the villagers to kill this crocodile as much as they wanted to. Instead, the crocodile was relocated. Last year, we launched a brand new podcast here at Ballin Studios called Redacted, Declassified Mysteries with Luke LaManna. And so far, you guys have loved it. And in case you haven't heard,
Careful,
we've also launched
Pink.
a YouTube channel
Careful.
for Redacted, where you can not only listen to these episodes, but also watch the beautiful animations we've done for each of these episodes. That channel already has 150,000 subscribers, and it's growing really quickly, and there are hours of content available right now for you to binge. New uploads to this YouTube channel will be every single Tuesday. All you have to do is look up @Redacted Mysteries on YouTube, and I'll also be putting a link in the description below. Wondery Plus subscribers can also watch Redacted on the Wondery app. Okay, back to the stories.
Oh, it's dead. I got the
One
loot
morning in
again.
April of 1848,
I'm doing more damage than it looks. I literally don't think I can hit him. Why don't we just do melee? Like Luna seems to be doing okay, just doing melee. I can't do another kill. I don't have prayer. There's no way. I don't even have a telly out. Girls, give me a telly. Give me... I don't even have a telly. I gotta get the fuck out of here. Okay, another prayer pot will do. That will do. I still need a telly out of here though. Mail, thank you. Yeah, it's true. Oh shit. Do you want to see it, Milky? Oh, I do have a glory. See, you're so fucking smart. I have a glory. I do.
Group of men were walking towards the coast of Campbell Island.
Luna, it's 1 law and 5 airs. What the hell? Sure, shit. Jeez. Stickler over here. Oh, don't you have a glory though? Okay. Don't kill me. Don't hurt me. Okay, Jimbo Slice, thank you. Thank you for your input. Holy shit. I'm not hitting nothing this time. What the fuck? I was hitting okay before.
which is an island located in the freezing Arctic region of northern Canada. These men were members of the Inuit people, who are indigenous to King William Island. And today, they were going hunting. Specifically, they were making their way towards the coastline to see if they could find any seals that they could hunt and kill for food and for clothing. However, even though technically the coastline was right in front of them, they couldn't actually see the water because there was this huge icy hill that obstructed their view. So in order to look down to the water, they would have to crest that hill and then look down. As these hunters got closer to the hill, the youngest of the hunters broke from the
Do you want the party hat back before you leave, Luna? Are you gonna be on later? You playing OSRS or a private server? Look in the description. It's a server called Lost City. It's not a private server. It's an open source recreation server. Out of food. We're leaving after this kill, I think. I have no ammo left. DDS spec his ass. Die. Okay, he's dead. Rune long, hey, that ain't bad. That's not bad. Okay, let's get the hell out of here. Yeah, why are you so obsessed with that idea, Luna? I don't want to go back in the wild with it on. I don't want to do it. You do it. Oh my god, I can't. You're gonna give me a heart attack. Let me out this fucking thing. You'll do it when you get back. Okay, I got you. I gotta give Carly some range pots. Thank you, Luna. Thanks for stopping by, Jake. Good night now. I appreciate you.
And ran up the hill to basically get an early look over and see if he could spot any animals down below. However, as soon as he crested the hill and scanned the coastline, again, you got a picture, it's snowy, icy outside, it's below 0 degrees. I mean, you're in the Arctic wild here. He's looking down, and at first, all he sees is just white, just snow, ice. But he sees something else. And as he's looking at it, he can't even understand what he's seeing. Like, it doesn't make sense. It's not computing. And so at this point, the young hunter kind of ducked down on this side of the hill, kind of away and out of view of the ocean, and he turned and signaled to the other hunters to get up here and take a look. And so the other hunters, they don't really understand what's happening here, but they can see, you know, there's some urgency coming from this young hunter. And so they run up the hill as well, and all together, all at once, they kind of peer up and over the hill again, and they look down, and for a second, they all just stared in horrified silence. Down below, wandering along the coastline, were not seals or walruses or any other animals that these hunters...
Uwu, can I please have my party hat back, Luna says. I says, no, Evil Kitty took it and alked it for fucking 0 GP, so...
might have expected to see out here. Instead, they saw people. Specifically, they saw Kalunat, which is their word for white men. But these men were not acting like...
Yeah, it looks easy, Carly. We couldn't figure it out. I have no idea what the fuck we're doing there. I think I'm gonna bring, melee gear just in case. Just need to remember to let it aggro the person standing on the tile. So... should I bring tank gear then? Yeah, I don't have a coif either, so that's fine. Bunny ears are fine. Want DPS. Well, who's standing on the tile? Oh, thank you. Okay. You'll lure it. Okay, so I only have myth arrows. Let me go check the range guild real quick because I definitely need me some of that shit. I need me some good arrows from there. Let me see if I can just buy some Addy arrows.
Jerky movements, and they were all just kind of staring straight ahead with these vacant expressions, and their skin, it was like black and blue, and their clothes were tattered, and they were just kind of lumbering along, about 40 of these Kalunat, these white men. Now, for these hunters, I mean, they really didn't have much exposure or experience around Kalunat, around white men. I mean, all they really knew at the time and in this part of the world is that white men were pretty dangerous to the indigenous people. But they did know there was a group of Kalunat who were staying on a ship that was off the coast of King William Island, and they had been living there for the better part of a year, and it seemed like their ship might have frozen off the coast, and they were just kind of trapped until the warmer months came around and they could sail away. But to this point, the Inuit people really had not seen or interacted with any of those white people. They had just kind of kept to themselves, and that was it. So just to see the Kalunat, the white people, on land, that alone was really shocking. Like, what happened? Why did they leave their ship? Why are they here? But again, the way they were moving and how they looked, it seemed wrong. Like there was something wrong with these people. Like there's more to this story than the Inuit people understand. and it was sort of terrifying. And on top of just the way they were moving, there was something else these Kalunat were doing. In addition to these men just kind of lumbering along the coastline, a few of them were dragging this big sled, and there was a tarp over the sled. Clearly something big or several things were under this tarp, but the Inuit hunters, they couldn't quite tell what it was. It was covered up. And so they're just watching these men in this weird parade along the coastline with the sled, and they really were like, we have to get out of here. And so they ducked their heads below the icy hill to kind of stay out of view of the Kalunat, who to this point it did not seem like they had spotted the hunters. And as the hunters are sort of trying to figure out what they should even do, they hear this awful guttural scream coming from down below where these men are, where these white men are. And instinctively, the hunters, they grab their spears and they poke their head up over the hill, almost thinking maybe they've spotted us, maybe they're gonna attack us. But no, when they look down below, many of the Kalunat were still just kind of lumbering along, but one of them had stopped, and he was kind of retching around like there was something wrong with him, and he continued to scream out, and then he just crumpled to the ground. But the other white men, it was like they didn't even react to it, except for the men pulling the sled. They pulled the sled right up alongside this man who had just fallen to the ground after screaming, and they just sort of nonchalantly pulled back the tarp, revealing all sorts of bodies on the sled. They picked the guy who had just fallen, and they threw him onto the pile. They covered him back up with the tarp, and then, like nothing had happened, the men kept on pulling the sled, and this totally creepy procession continued down the coast. At this point, the Inuit hunters were genuinely terrified, and without saying anything, they just scrambled back down the hill and ran back to their village. The following day, the Inuit hunters came back to that exact spot, the icy hill that looked down to the ocean below. Except this time, they had brought along several pounds of seal meat. So the previous day, when these hunters had gone back to their village to tell the others about what they had just seen, oddly enough, the consensus became that, of course the Kalunat are sort of dangerous to us and we should keep our distance. But from what you're describing, it sounds an awful lot like these men, these white men, must just be starving. Like the way they're moving, the fact that men are falling down and dying, and they have this, sled full of dead bodies. They're out here in the Arctic wild. I mean, this is a very unforgiving place. And so the consensus was, they're starving to death. That's what you're seeing. That's why they're acting the way they are. And so maybe the move here is you hunters go back to that same spot, try to find these Kalunat, and give them some food, not only to help them, to be good people, good stewards of humanity, but also as sort of like a peace offering, because there was tension between the Inuit people and the Kalunat. And so these hunters had agreed. They had showed up with the intention of, finding these 40 some odd white men, giving them some food, and maybe even offering some help, if they needed it. And so that day, the Inuit hunters, they make it back to their spot, they climb up that icy hill, and they look down towards the ocean below, and there's nobody there. It's just complete isolation. And so the hunters, they go down to the coastline and they see footprints from the day before. They find, the tracks from the sled that have been being dragged, and they just start tracking the footprints of these white men. And for hours, these hunters are just following the footprints along this coastline, in the snow and the ice, and they're looking up ahead. They don't see anybody, and it's like, wow, like these guys, they covered a huge amount of ground. Like, where did they go? And eventually, after hours of this, the hunters come upon this campsite, but it's totally abandoned. It's right on the edge of the water, and based on where the campsite was and sort of how fresh it looked, it seemed pretty obvious that at some point, clearly the Kalunat had been camped out here, but they clearly are not here now. But interestingly, the people that had been here, presumably the white men, they had left behind quite a few of their supplies. Like there was the remains of a fire, and sitting over the fire was this big pot, like a metal pot. And you would think if you're struggling to survive out here that you would definitely want to keep some of your cooking supplies, but no, that was left behind along with several other tools. And so the Inuit hunters, they're looking around thinking, okay, well, maybe they just stepped away and they're gonna come back, but they searched the vicinity of the campsite, but nobody was there. The footprints just kind of picked up and continued off into the distance. And so feeling pretty puzzled by this, the Inuit hunters decided to just search the campsite and try to get some clue as to what's going on with these white men. And eventually, after searching through all the different things that had been left behind, they came back to that fire and that pot that had a lid over it that was sitting right there. And one of the hunters walks up to the pot, he grabs the lid, he lifts it off, and when he saw what was inside, He reeled back in horror. Several months later, that same group of Inuit hunters had hiked miles and miles down that same coastline of King William Island until they saw off in the distance, right off the coast, this big wooden ship. And these hunters knew this ship belonged to the Colonat. And today, their plan was to break into the ship and raid it, because just recently, these hunters had finally kind of solved the mystery of what happened to those, 40 some odd white men they had seen. Because they came across this mass gravesite, of like 30 plus white men all dead in the snow. And clearly they had starved to death and died from exposure. And so it just sort of seemed like this unfortunate thing that these guys had hiked and hiked and hiked and just kind of fell down and died. But now that the Inuit hunters knew that all these white men were dead, they're like, well, there's a ship sitting right out there that, no one's gonna claim, so why don't we take whatever's inside of it? And so the Inuit hunters walked out onto the ocean, which was completely frozen. So the ship, it's off the coast, but it's basically a pathway of ice right up to the ship. And so the hunters, they walked on this ice all the way out to the ship. And when they got there, unsurprisingly, it was totally vacant. It's silent, it's still. Clearly, there's nobody in this ship. Now, as the Inuit hunters climbed the side of the ship and got ready to go inside, they all had set their expectations to be like, okay, clearly the men who had inhabited this ship at one point, the white men, the Colonat, they obviously abandoned the ship and, tried their luck on land unsuccessfully. So clearly something must have happened out here. Like they ran out of food, or there was a leak in the ship, or some sort of chaos ensued here that caused them to abandon their shelter and, head towards the Arctic wilds, right? But once they got on board the ship and looked around, they quickly realized the ship was in pristine condition. I mean, there was no damage to the ship. It was practically brand new, preserved out in the ice here. When they went down below, they discovered there were all these bedrooms with these incredibly comfortable looking beds, and there was bunk beds and hammocks with linens and pillows. There was a library with hundreds of books. There were games. There was all this cutlery and fine china. And just off the kitchen.
Alrighty, I'm gonna get a new video up because this one's almost over. So I don't want the stream to be nothing for a while. Shit. Let's see if something comes up. YouTube has been just extra shitty lately.
You don't know who the previous owner gave the house keys to. You don't know who still has them. Why risk it? A family moves into their new home, and there are just like a few quirks that come with it. I mean, you could maybe say that the house is charming, objectively speaking. They've got a spacious backyard with a pool. It's 3 floors. They do have this interesting flagpole at the front of the property, but they are just so focused. This family is so focused on getting situated, unpacking all their boxes. But it feels like they're in some sort of weird social experiment, because periodically through the day, people will start randomly showing up. People will stop their cars, get out, take photos of this house landscape mode. They turn their phone. What is wrong with these people? It's a normal family home. This is not a landmark. This is not a massive mansion with Christmas decorations up. It's a random house. What are they doing? Others are driving by the house and doing these very convoluted random 3-point turns, and the owners are just looking out their windows like, why are they doing 25 3-point turns right now? Like they're in some sort of simulation and it's a glitch. Are they practicing for some driving test? Why do they keep doing this? It's not even necessary. It's not like they're going anywhere. They're just doing convoluted turns. Why specifically in front of their house that they just bought? What's even more interesting is the pictures listed on Zillow show the basement, and the basement floors originally looked normal. The previous residents used a good chunk of the basement as a workout room. So in the listing pictures, you have these American flags on the wall. There are weights, weight benches. And because it's a workout room, the floor is covered with gym mats, those black rubber mats that you piece together like a puzzle. However, when the new owners move in, basement floors, gym mats have been taken off, and now it's just a random mix of plywood. It's not even hardwood floors, not carpet, plywood. And it's not one consistent type of plywood, not one consistent layer of plywood.
Get the spider
It looks
for me.
like
There's a
random
big-ass spider. See
patches
that fucking
of
thing?
plywood.
Basically,
What is
every
that?
single part of this part of the basement,
It's climbing on the
of this part of the
Candido.
house, the flooring's been taken up.
Yeah.
I mean, all of this, it's just hodgepodge,
It's
right? It just looks like it was thrown down. Something, the actual
not
floor was
killer.
ripped up.
It's not
Let's say
cold-hearted.
you've got plywood flooring and I spilled tomato juice down one side and you can't get it out. Would you go through the trouble of replacing the entire room? Or maybe just that patch? That's kind of what it looks like. Why are there patches of different types of plywood? Is that a new thing that the previous owners did right before moving out? I mean, that's up for debate. Everything is being debated by the internet. Everything about this house is being debated. Not even by the new owners, but people online. People with abilities, whether you believe them or not, I guess is subjective, up to each person. They're saying that they can see and read energy, and they're posting these ominous videos of them reading cards into the house. And they warn everyone, this house, the energy here, it's not over. What you have to do is look at what's left over. It's far from over. Someone will have to step in. They think the house is suspicious. Other netizens online are like, okay, that's a little much. However, we agree with you. It is suspicious. Like the fact that the house went up for sale November of 2022. Nobody lists a house for sale right before the holidays. Nobody's moving at that time. Additionally, the house is originally listed for $949,000, but ends up selling for $905,000, a $44,000 hit in an area where real estate is in such high demand that usually there's bidding wars.
How long did it take to sell? Do you know?
A few months. There is something inside that house. The internet feels it. Everybody knows about it except the new homeowners. In fact, they moved from a different area, had no idea what was going on inside this
No.
house until they moved in, saw people
No.
driving by taking pictures of their new house.
That is wild.
That is when they realized that they had just purchased 34 Fairview Road, previously owned by Brian Albert. The house in which John O'Keefe's body was found dead in the front lawn. And the seller's agent, Brian Albert's real estate agent,
Didn't say anything?
they didn't say anything. And that realtor works for a firm that is owned by Carrie Roberts' sister. This is part 3 of the Karen Reed case. We would like to thank today's sponsors who have made it possible for Rotten Mango to support the Dana-Farber Cancer Institute in Boston, Massachusetts. They're a globally known cancer research center that also provides support for patients and families similar to John O'Keefe's sister, who has since passed away from brain cancer. This episode's partnerships have also made it possible to support Rotten Mango's growing team, and we'd also like to thank you guys for your continued support. As always, full show notes are available at rottenmangopodcast.com. A few disclaimers. There are mentions of driving under the influence, alleged physical assault, as well as drug usage, so please watch at your own discretion. This episode is only part 3 of a 4-part series that is spanning to be probably longer than every single Game of Thrones episode combined. I don't know what's happening. I'm trying to take out some information, but I feel like everything is pertinent, and there's 2 separate trials. So there's trial 1, trial 2. A lot of statements, a lot of testimonies have been condensed and or combined for brevity's sake. If you have not seen part 1 or part 2, I highly recommend that you go watch that, because there's no way that any of this is going to make sense without watching those first 2 parts. In addition, I will try to do like a very brief recap, and all I can say is this is a case that consists of every single person on this board. Some of them were at 34 Fairview Road, which is a house owned by the main Alberts. The Albert is a massive family that I feel like Canton, Massachusetts, which is a 30-minute drive from Boston, if there's 10 people, 7 of them are Albert related. They're either married into the Albert family, like Julie Albert is married to Chris Albert, who's Brian Albert's brother, or they're married in through Jennifer McCabe is Nicole Albert's sister, who's married to Brian Albert. I mean, it's just a freaking mess. And then outside of 34 Fairview Road, On January 29th, 2022, Boston police officer John O'Keefe was found in the front lawn in front of a flagpole. Everyone inside the house that night, because there was a cop party, a bunch of cops coming together to drink and drive at night, they say he never entered the house. They say what most likely happened is John O'Keefe's girlfriend, Karen Reed, hit him with her car and left him for dead. Karen Reed, on the other hand, is saying that's not what happened at all. In fact, I am getting framed.
Did not hit John with my car.
And these are the cast of characters. So please go watch part 2. Go watch part 1. It's like, I think at that point it's probably 5 hours.
6 hours.
6 hours. There's just no way that I can recap anything more. But I will go over the colors. Dark red. This red color here is the main Albert family. So the main Albert couple.
Alrighty, here I am. My arthritis is flaring up really bad tonight, so holy shit. Alrighties.
Their children. And then you've got the orange, which is Chris Albert's family. This is Brian Albert's brother, his wife Julie, you got his son Colin, and then you've got the yellows. The yellows are the McCabe's. They're like the McAlberts, you know, they're related to the Alberts because of Nicole and Jen McCabe, and then anyone related directly by Karen. So they're associated with this case through Karen, which is mainly just her defense attorneys. They're going to be in pink. Anyone who has a light blue color, such as John O'Keefe and maybe even ATF Brian Haha Higgins, that means that they are law enforcement officers or they have control over law enforcement. So these are all cops, these are all feds, except for the exception of Chris Albert, who is not really a law enforcement officer, but he sits on the Canton Select Board, which controls the Canton Police Department as a whole. It's 5 people. He's one of them. They get to appoint the police chief.
Crazy.
Of the Canton Police Department. Brian Albert also has another brother named Kevin Albert, who is a detective of the Canton Police Department. So there's just a lot of cops involved.
Is Kevin Albert? We haven't really talked about him. Is he part of the case at all, or
Hi Ariel. Thank you for subscribing.
he's just related?
He's part of it.
Oh.
And then anyone in dark blue are investigating officers that are investigating the death of John O'Keefe. But joke's on them because their investigation is going to be investigated by the FBI for how abysmal it is. And we also have multiple different law enforcement agencies at play here. So we have the Boston Police Department, which John O'Keefe was a Boston cop. Brian Albert, before he retired, coincidentally, conveniently, right after John O'Keefe's death, he was the head of the fugitive unit at the Boston Police Department. And then you've got the Canton Police Department. So John O'Keefe ends up passing away in Canton. So they are the initial people to respond to the call. So these 3 right here, this boy Sean, Paul, Michael, you're not going to like any of these people. Like most of these people you're not going to like. They're Canton cops. And then you've got Kenneth Berkowitz, Canton Police Chief. And then you've got Brian Tolley, Yuri Buchanek, and Michael Proctor. They're part of the Massachusetts State Police. So these people, the state police officers, come in because the Canton police have to recuse themselves. And then you've got the feds, the FBI, that are actually investigating the investigation. So 4 different law enforcement agencies. I do want to say that nobody has been charged, well, nobody has been convicted of a crime. There were 2 trials that ended in an acquittal. Any conspiracies, any theories, there's a lot of netizen discourse surrounding this case. And I will say it's very difficult to separate the emotion, the conspiracies, as well as what might be a neighborhood rumor versus what might actually have some truth to it. So do your own research. I know you guys are smart enough. So before you make your own decision, opinion, judgment on any of the parties involved, do your own research. And anything I say is alleged. It's publicly available information. It's recaps of online discourse as well as pulled from transcripts of the 2 trials. So with that being said, let's get started. There is a place called D&E Pizza and Subs. It's like a hole-in-the-wall restaurant. It seems exclusively made for takeout. There's barely any seats, let alone any tables. They sell pizzas, chicken wings, family favorite recipes, mac and cheese bites fried in a thick batter, a cheeseburger hot sub. This is an interesting one. It's a chicken Caesar salad pizza. It's just like if you were to get a chicken Caesar salad, throw it on top of a pizza, a chicken Caesar salad pizza. I mean, it was pretty self-explanatory. They also have something called a triple-decker sandwich. But if you want something a little bit lighter, they've got egg salad, cold sub. The menu is very extensive. And if you order online, you get a whopping 5% discount. But nobody wants to order online. Nobody wants to order at all. Because the pizza shop is owned by Chris Albert, the brother of Brian Albert, whose front lawn John O'Keefe was found dead on. One review, this is from 2018, so this is before all of the suspicious activity has even occurred. 2018, one reviewer writes about this suspicious little pizza shop. Second time there, and both times I had an issue. First time, employees had a bad attitude. Second time, they forgot to give me my dressing for my salad, and by the time that they delivered the dressing, the chicken was disgusting. It was cold. I got a Greek salad, and they said they brought me their house dressing, which is a mix of Greek and Italian. It was disgusting. The owner kept saying nothing was wrong. Another one says, you better hope you don't get the blockhead that answered the phone for me when I was placing my order. I wanted to go get my credit card to read the numbers off of, and he told me I should have had that prepared already. To which another reviewer agrees. They need a little work done in the customer service, because I definitely overheard a guy calling me a piece of shit when I called back to add a soda to my order. And then they tried to laugh it off later when he noticed that I was still on the phone. Then when I got my pizza, it was burnt like hell. Like, how the hell do you burn cheese pizza with no toppings? And while all of this is ongoing, this place, these are reviews from 2018. Somehow they survived 2018. They survived the pandemic, and even...
That's busted. That's busted. What is wrong with its AI? Like, it should be able to attack us here, no? Or is it actually corner trapped here? It shouldn't be, it shouldn't be corner trapped here, though, because... like, my kitten's on this square. So its model is like this, right? It's like a 4x4 model, or 5x5 model. Yeah, it's like 5x5. That is so weird. Carly, why is it doing this? It's so weird. Don't ask. They'll fix it, you know what I mean? They removed the altar in Taverley Dungeon. I can't fucking believe it. The one by Hellhounds, before I even got any use out of it. That was so disappointing. I couldn't believe that. I got a bunch of Addy arrows this time.
Now, in 2025, this place is still going on. This place is still open. With one netizen commenting, how is the Albert Pizza place still in business? There cannot be that many people in Canton and the surrounding area that would support their business. Why don't people boycott them and run them out of town? The top comment responds, well, perhaps the business has other purposes than selling food. As with any internet theory and or conspiracy, this could all be a made-up delusion crafted by a random shadowy internet figure who has mashed potatoes for brains and a working Wi-Fi router, just because words have been strung together.
This guy is cracking out again for no reason when he was just chill like a minute ago. Oh jeez. What a guy.
Into semi-coherent thoughts does not make it true or factual. I'm not here to sway your opinion about a conspiracy, but it is an interesting conspiracy. I did get sucked into the rabbit hole. I turned into mashed potatoes for brains because it's just weird, and it oddly starts with rice pudding. In New York City, if you walk down two of some of the most popular streets, you've probably come across what people call a culinary mystery. Two restaurants, most expensive areas in New York City with
Let me record a clip for this, too. So we decided to try out KBD earlier, and Luna and Pink were here. Pink had to go for a minute. She's getting back on. Yeah, we got the safe spot figured out. I had no idea that, like, I'd heard that a safe spot existed, but I didn't realize that it looked like this. This is crazy. Like, just look at this guy. He's gonna bite your flesh. What the fuck? It's crazy. Kills are taking longer because I'm not there, Pink says. Exactly. Pink was hitting more than she thought she was hitting. Yeah, so I think I'll just stand like right here behind this pillar and I should be good. And let me turn my auto off. I think this should hide me from the KBD until Carly can get it into the safe spot. I'm not positive though that that's what'll happen. Butternut is nipped out right now. Oh god, I wish that were me. I wish I could get Corny high as fuck right now. I would much rather him be high and just chilled out.
Massive storefronts. They always look empty for some reason. It's just like a dessert shop. It feels sterile. It's called Rice to Riches. It's like the most niche desserts shop. There's so many dessert shops in New York City where they do all the trending Instagram desserts and they still close down because money is hard. But this is rice pudding that's made fresh daily that you can get in flavors like coconut coma, Oreo gasm, sex, drugs and rocky road, hazelnut chocolate bear hug, and then you just add toppings to it. The founding family of the rice pudding shop is very wealthy, which people are confused. Locals are wondering who the hell is getting rich off of rice pudding. Well, maybe they're not. The restaurant opened up in 2002,
What the
and by
fuck is
2005,
that?
the founder was arrested for operating what prosecutors called probably one of the largest gambling operations ever in Suffolk County.
Wait, this is actually that?
Yes, an illegal
Whoa.
sports betting ring that was bringing in $21 million annually.
Wait, so the store is a front for...
No, the founder says they're two different businesses. He said he's never mixed the money. He's not money laundering. The store's not a crime front. That's crazy. It's just a coincidence, he says.
Huh.
It's a coincidence. There's no connection between the gambling and the two dessert shops. The dessert shop is 100% not a crime front. That's what he says. That dessert shop is still open. There's no proof that there is money laundering happening. I mean, there's still two of them in New York City in the most expensive areas.
So he's arrested, but his store's still running by someone.
Yeah, he got out pretty quick.
Oh.
Now, to complicate things even further, everybody does say rice pudding's actually pretty good there. They say it's actually very addicting. One comment reads, nah, because the rice pudding is so good, I'm actually going to contribute to their gambling problem. Another person writes, the rice pudding is worth the organized crime here. That is what netizens believe is happening with D&E Pizza without the good pizza. There is no evidence, but they believe, based off the bad reviews of the restaurant predating 2022 and pictures of the food and locals saying, I don't know who goes there except for just fellow cops and like some random young kids, they believe there is no way that these people are staying open for business and profiting to feed their whole family. It doesn't make sense. One internet rumor reads, I heard from a friend that Colin Albert was selling drugs out of D&E Pizza and his daddy knew all about it. To which someone responds, of course his daddy knew. Who do you think he gets the drugs from? To be fair, another netizen comments, just no proof, just rumors. Now, one netizen who has never met a bush and certainly does not beat around it, just puts it quite frankly, D&E is a drug front. John O'Keefe and Karen Reed pull up to the house. John jumps out, goes into the driveway, makes it to the front of the house, but he mistakes the garage door for the side door. Now, that's what's so confusing about 34 Fairview. There are 3 doors at the front. You've got the main front door, and then you've got a side door that opens straight up into the family living room. And then you've got a garage door that opens straight into the garage. They say that John O'Keefe went through, he thought he was going through the side door into the family room, but he ends up going in to the garage and he sees people, mainly Colin, engaging in and or selling drugs. That's the theory. Perhaps there are even large quantities of drugs stored in the garage to the point where the Brian Albert, he can't be like, I don't know what Colin's doing. I don't know what he's doing in my garage. And a fight ensues because nobody parks their car in the garage. They say that they just use it for storage. A fight ensues, this is the theory, and John O'Keefe is incapacitated. Everyone, mostly Caitlin and the girls, are told to get out. The biggest thing was, we know why the Alberts might want to lie. We know why Jen McCabe might want to lie. Why everybody on this board might want to lie. But why are Julie Nagel, her brother Ryan Nagel, Sarah Levinson, why are they lying? Because maybe they're also protecting themselves, is this theory. Caitlin and all the...
That's amazing. I had no idea he had a name. He's just the Kool-Aid man. I didn't know you could buy arrow shafts. You can? Wait, are those... I didn't even see them if they're at the ranging guild. What? I had no idea you could buy arrow shafts either. Look up his species. What is that? No. Interdimensional demon? Oh no, what the fuck? He's an interdimensional demon. That explains so much. Species picture. Oh my god.
Kids, the girls, they're told to get out while this is happening. John O'Keefe is subdued. Once everybody is out, he's transferred to the basement. This is the internet theory. This is what the netizen writes. Chloe attacks because she smells blood. John is beyond repair. Things have gone too far. Only option now is to move him to the yard and blame Chloe. Chloe's the backup plan. Unfortunately, Karen Reed makes herself a nice little...
Oh my god, Carly, I'm so done. Holy shit. I can totally imagine you being that high that you're like, what species is the Kool-Aid man? Oh my god. Holy shit, I love you. That's crazy.
pawn because she actually cares about her boyfriend, and the McAlberts take full advantage of that. Some people have taken this conspiracy a step further to allege that the drugs that we have no proof of being in the pizza shop, that the drugs in the pizza shop are actually obtained through police stations and police investigations. When officers confiscate drugs and do massive drug busts, it wouldn't be the first time that they take those drugs and then resell them for a profit, because who's gonna come after them? The cops? They are the cops. That is the conspiracy with zero proof. Now, I don't think that this conspiracy would have gotten this far on the internet.
Body like a pitcher. That's right, I'm built like a pitcher. Holy fuck. I'm just round all around.
Had it not been for the fact that August of 2023, so this is like a full year and a half after John O'Keefe passes, at a Canton Select Board meeting that this guy decides he's not going to show up to. Chris Albert, one of the 5 selectmen, he's like, I'm going to sit this one out. Chris Albert, he's not there. However, a woman named Helena Rafferty is there. Helena Rafferty is the new Canton police chief. She replaces Kenneth Berkowitz. Also, Kenneth Berkowitz dies. Unrelated.
What?
He has a heart attack and he dies.
When?
Way after. But he does retire the same year that John O'Keefe is found dead.
So John O'Keefe found dead?
After about 6 months, he retires. And
Was
then,
there investigation going on against him? Like the FBI's were onto him?
yes, we're
If
on
he
everybody.
retired.
Yes.
Huh.
Oh, but it gets weirder because Helena Rafferty, she becomes the new Canton police chief.
Yo, a bunch of little kids drinking the Kool-Aid man's blood would just be straight up blasphemous. So that actually does kind of make sense. If he's an interdimensional demon, he wants to be blasphemous against Jesus. Because everybody's drinking Jesus's blood. So he's like, nah, drink my motherfucking blood.
The first female police chief.
Was she directly from the department as well, or she's like transferred? Or...
Oh no, all from Canton.
So they all know each other already?
Yes.
Okay.
So she's the new police chief. She also randomly retired recently.
While the case is still going on,
Yes.
the trial's still going on.
Police Chief Helena Rafferty is retiring this summer. The
He
announcement.
definitely appreciates the children drinking his blood. I mean, he seems awfully excited about it. We'll just say that. Dude literally busts doors down. Oh yeah.
Came the same day as opening statements in the second trial of Karen Reed.
And then Kenneth passed
Oh,
away?
see, look at that. It's... Oh, okay. And then you just move once. That is so easy. Holy shit. That is dead ass the easiest shit ever. I don't have a whole lot of range spots here, but at least I know how to do it now. Like, I could solo this, no problem.
Yes, from a heart attack.
Really? Like no suspicions, nothing.
I don't think it
Wow.
was suspicious. I don't think it's related to this case, but what is suspicious is one of the last things he does on the job, which I'm going to go through later. Now, Helena Rafferty takes over and she states in a meeting, I know it's been circulated that John O'Keefe had conversations with Canton police detectives related to drug activity in that neighborhood. John O'Keefe, to give you some context, is a Boston police officer. So he drives to Boston every day to go to work, 30 minutes. But he lives in the city, in the town of Canton. He reports that there's drug activity in Canton. Now, does he report it to his boss in Boston? No, because there's no jurisdiction. So he goes to the detectives at Canton Police Department. Who's a detective at the Canton Police Department? Kevin Albert.
He went to Kevin Albert?
He was one of the people.
Huh.
And he tells them, hey, I think there's suspicious drug activity going on in Canton. And Helena Rafferty, the new police chief, says, well, I'm here to confirm that John O'Keefe absolutely did reach out to Canton detectives related to drug activity in the neighborhood. He reached out to the detective unit. However, none, and let me repeat, that none of John O'Keefe's well-documented correspondence with us included anyone alleged to be involved in this case. Nobody believes her.
That's weird. Okay.
What we're getting out of this is she did confirm that John O'Keefe told Kevin Albert and other Canton detectives that there is drug activity in this neighborhood. And this is where it gets suspicious. Chris Albert, Julie Albert, they had been neighbors with John O'Keefe for years. They recently moved away.
Yeah.
But for years, they were 2 houses down. They never got along with John O'Keefe. They never really talked to him. The day that John O'Keefe passes away, he goes to D&E Pizza. Some people think he's there to scope out what's going on. He goes to D&E Pizza, and that night, Chris Albert is the one to invite John O'Keefe to the Waterfall Bar.
Are you saying that he rarely goes to DNE or?
Nobody really knows, but the fact that he went the day of, people think it's
Good
very
one.
strange.
Okay,
Good one,
another
Courtney.
coincidence.
Another
right?
coincidence. What's even more of a
The fuck
coincidence
is that?
is when they get to Waterfall Bar, Karen Reed starts asking to go to D&E Pizza because she had heard that sometimes they open up after hours
Yeah.
to make a pizza.
Okay, so the order of event is on that day, Chris show up in the morning of. John O'Keefe shows up.
I'm getting every kill. Oh my god, I almost called Carly corny. I'm getting every kill, Carly. Holy shit. I kind of feel bad. Hold on, I gotta deal with his fucking lunacy real quick. Psychotic. This guy is psychotic. Here you go, Pepper Pie. Bro, I'm not gonna let you go right now. There's no way you're going anywhere. Like, just stop trying. You are causing way too much trouble right now. And your heart is racing. What are you even doing? Don't sniff my ear. What are you doing? Oh, it's so horrible being held. I know. It's the worst thing ever. You got something to say to the viewers? Huh? You got something to say? oh, you're being hit by a swarm. I'm like, what? Is the safe spot not working? I literally thought like, oh, you're gonna die. Oh god. Ow. Don't bite. Why are you being such a bitch, huh? Why are you being so— I fed you so much food today. I gave you so much good food. Stop. Stop it. Stop. Stop. Oh, you're being a little demon guy. Oh, you're being demon kitty tonight. Holy moly.
Meal for lunch
with his nephew.
with his nephew, right? So Chris met John O'Keefe, say, "Hey,
Yeah,
my
let out a
old
big
neighbor,
sigh. I
we
don't
didn't
care
like each
about you.
other, but come hang out with
Don't
us
care
tonight."
until your heart
He
rate
says
goes
that they
down,
were
so you
friendly,
stop
but
spazzing
there's
out.
evidence perhaps that they were not.
Right.
Yeah.
John shows up with Karen
To the
right?
waterfall bar.
To the waterfall bar, and then Karen's like, "Oh, D&E, should we go? Can we go?" But they didn't. Like a different day. Karen say, "Let's go another day."
No, let's go tonight.
Tonight.
Instead of going to 34 Fairview, let's go to D&E.
Oh, okay.
And then they don't end up going. They go to 34 Fairview, and John O'Keefe ends up dead.
Got
So
schmuck-
people think
you
this
got
is just
schmuck,
too many
buddy.
coincidences in one.
Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense. So this is where the theory comes into play, that John O'Keefe was killed inside the house. We briefly went over it because there's multiple theories. Some people think that the house is a house full of swingers, and maybe John O'Keefe was confronted by Brian Haha Higgins, about the conversations that he had with Karen Reed and all of that. There are a lot of side theories, but I think if you look at the pictures of 34 Fairview, it's going viral on TikTok. The Alberts officially list their home for sale November 17th of 2022.
You
People
can't
started
hit
online
shit.
studying these pictures.
I guess you gotta have Addy arrows. I've had Addy arrows the whole time. But yeah, I don't know if they're how much better they are from Myth, to be honest. Seems to be quite a bit better. Oh, that was your kill. Hey, you see that? Now I'm really on my way. Okay, Pink.
Pictures to see if it's feasible. A big running theory is
Yeah,
that
I won't have a ranging pop pretty soon, but it'll slow the kills down a little bit, but it won't be anything like we can stay here for quite a while.
goes into the house. He's either in the garage, where there is suspiciously this like paint spill, red paint that splattered all over the garage floor. Some people think that the paint was poured on top of blood that had been scrubbed off. Some people think it's just a paint spill. Some people are like, we can't even confirm when this paint spill happened. There's just a lot of, we're gonna circle back to this.
Red paint?
Yeah, it's like a dark burgundy.
Then I will see, is there a part of the house is that color? Like, what are you using that color for, right?
I don't see anything that was that color in the house.
Dark red.
Other people think that this occurred in the basement. A fight breaks out
It's
in the
so
basement
cracked
in the
out.
workout room,
It's
which would explain
insane.
the laceration to his head. It could have been sustained from a dumbbell. It could have been sustained from any
yeah.
of the heavy weights down there. Regardless, all the theories end with John
You're getting
O'Keefe suffering a
squished,
fatal
buddy.
injury to the
I'm
back
gonna
of his head.
squish you.
Nobody thinks that any of this was premeditated. In fact, a lot of the people that believe in the D&E theory, they believe that all these guys, they just want to beat John O'Keefe up.
Okay, at
That's
least your
their game plan.
your
And maybe it
heartbeat's
works with
normal
other
now,
cops.
so
You
can
beat him
go.
up and you say, hey, so basically what's going to happen is you're going to shut up about this. They make him feel fear. That's the energy that people believe is existing inside of 34 Fairview Road that very night. He suffers a fatal injury to the back of the head, and everybody starts freaking out because it wasn't supposed to go this far. Chloe, the German shepherd, starts attacking John O'Keefe. The residents and the partygoers ultimately freak out even more, and they decide that they're just going to lay his body on the front lawn, and they're going to blame the snowplow
Nice
driver.
spec, thank
They're
you.
going to say that John was drunk. He gets out of Karen Reed's car. Karen drives away, leaving him, which was a happy coincidence for them, and John gets hit by a snowplow. People have died from getting hit by industrial city snowplows. He's drunk. He didn't see the snowplow coming. The snowplow driver at 3 a.m. didn't see John, and they hit him, and he dies. So they wait until the snowplow driver drives off, does their route of 34 Fairview. Once they hear that snowplow go through, they move his body outside. By the next morning, Karen inserts herself into the situation, thus giving them the perfect opening. Again, this is all alleged, nothing has been proven. That's the running theory of some internet users. And they just need to know if it's feasible to bring John's body out of the basement without being seen by the neighbors. The most popular theory comes from the basement opens into the backyard. There's what they call bulkhead doors. So it looks like one of those storm shelters. It's like a plank of wood. You know when you are on the street in New York and you see those steel doors that open and then you walk down and it's the bottom of like, it's kind of like that, but not as official. It's just like a wooden door. You lift it up, there's a few steps, and then a regular door, you walk in, and that's the basement.
Look at that.
Yeah.
Directly into the backyard, yeah.
When you get out of that, you're in the backyard. You turn to the side, there's a fence. You open up that fence, directly in front of you is the flagpole. And that is the darkest part of the whole property. They believe that someone went, one of these partygoers,
I misclicked.
parked a car
Shit.
on the side of the street. Then the
Just
others
careful,
came in
Carly,
through the
don't
back
die.
side door
Don't die.
and
Oh my
dragged
God.
John
My
O'Keefe's body
freaking
towards
God.
the flagpole in the middle
I
of the night.
misclicked so
well
hard
after
there. I didn't even mean to click at all, let alone click to move anywhere. Holy shit. Sorry. We do have PB&J. We've got great preserves, creamy peanut butter, good ass bread too.
Karen already went home. But does the floor plan of the house make this theory feasible? Some people
You
are
can
saying
come in,
these
Pink.
are the
You can
wild
come in right
cards.
now. Just
All of
stand.
Brian Albert's friends,
Just
because
GD
other
on
than
us.
that, family has a reason to lie for family. But what about Julie Nagel, Ryan Nagel?
Oh. Yeah, you're in World 3. Oh my god. Holy shit. Oh god.
Sarah Levinson. Why would they say, no, I didn't see John O'Keefe coming inside. No, I didn't see anyone go into the basement. Why would they say these things? If you don't believe that they're involved in the drug theory, why would they lie? It doesn't make sense. Sarah Levinson is a nurse. Why would she risk her career for any of these people? Adding to the theory the most when you look at the floor plan of this house is that this is not an open concept first floor, which when everybody testifies, you almost envision it to be. They're like, yeah, you walk in through the front door. If I'm in the kitchen, I see everyone. I see.
Yeah, Pink, you can just come in. Just stand on top of the pile here.
On a Monday afternoon in 1986, A detective sergeant in San Antonio, Texas, sat in his office and puzzled over 2 separate cases that landed on his desk that morning. One was a missing persons case. A mother of 2 never showed up to work that morning at the clinic where she was a respected nurse, and none of her friends, co-workers, or family members could get in touch with her. The other case involved a murder.
That is so my bad, Pink. Like, I did not check to see which world you were in, and I was even PMing you. I just did not notice.
Body had turned up in a grassy field along a deserted 2-lane road, and it appeared to be a teenage girl. The sergeant looked back and forth between the description of the missing mom
Oh,
and the pictures of the
Jesus.
dead young woman. These women were so similar in appearance that he wondered if this may have been the work of a serial killer. But before we get into that story, if you're a fan of the strange, dark, and mysterious delivered in story format, then you've come to the right podcast, because that's all we do, and we upload twice a week, once on Monday and once on Thursday. So, if that's of interest to you, please buy the follow button a very nice pair of slippers, but each week, secretly break into their house and replace those slippers with an identical pair.
The
that
poor
is
dragon can't hit you. Oh my god. Well, he just smacked me for a 50. Shit. That was a juicy 50. That was crazy. Good lord.
slightly larger. Okay?
I should have definitely brought like 2 or 3 range bots too.
Let's get into today's story.
Bring you one next time. I don't have that many left, but I can get you one, I think. I think I only have 3 left. What are you doing, Point? Watch me try rune arrows. Don't do it. It is such a waste of money, Pink. Oh my gosh. We'll just give you some loot. Like, I'll give you a split of the loot.
On a muggy Saturday night on June 7th, 1986, 29-year-old Kathy Lipscomb parked her car in front of an apartment complex in San Antonio, Texas, and reached into her purse for a tube of lipstick. Kathy tilted the rearview mirror.
Wait, you got air runes? Oh shit. I would actually be happy with that because I need air runes really bad, but yeah, that would still still a bad job.
Toward her face and touched up her lips. And as she looked at her reflection and swept
Hey,
her
thank
black hair to the
you.
side of
Oh
her
my
forehead,
god.
she almost didn't
You're
recognize herself.
so
There was a
goated.
glow on her face that she hadn't seen in a long time, not since she'd been a newlywed. These days, the happy parts of Kathy's marriage felt very far in the past. Over the last 8 years, she and her husband had had 2 children, who they both loved deeply. But Kathy had come to feel increasingly trapped in her life, until just about a month ago, when she and her husband had finally agreed to separate. To Kathy, that decision felt like it gave her back her freedom, and she knew that who she was seeing now in the rearview mirror of her brand new car was a brand new woman. Kathy grabbed her purse from the passenger seat, got out of the car, and walked towards the large apartment building up ahead. And suddenly, she felt really nervous. But it was the good kind of nervous. She had butterflies in her stomach because she was on the way to spend the night with her new boyfriend, who she had fallen completely in love with. Kathy's soon-to-be ex-husband had the kids, and for at least a little while, Kathy could put all her worries out of her mind. So she walked up 2 flights of stairs to the 3rd floor of the building and then rang the doorbell of her boyfriend's apartment. Kathy heard footsteps drawing closer, and then the door opened up, and Kathy beamed at the man standing there. The man grabbed Kathy and kissed her, led her inside, and shut the door behind them. The next evening, Kathy's soon-to-be ex-husband, 30-year-old Air Force Master Sergeant Bill Lipscomb.
Okay, but listen to this. Imagine they replaced the magic longbow spec to be like the dragon battle axe, but for ranged, where it like lowers your defense or some shit, but it gives you a range pop bonus. That would be so busted. That would be actually good.
buckled their 4-year-old son and 7-year-old daughter into the backseat of his car and began driving to the other side of town, where Kathy had just moved into
Yeah, I was gonna say Crystal Bow would be really good here if it was in the game because of how accurate it is.
her own apartment. Kathy was supposed to pick the kids up from Bill's house, but she hadn't shown up and she wasn't answering her phone. So now Bill was driving the kids to her. When they got to Kathy's building, Bill knocked on the front door of Kathy's unit, which was on the ground floor, and he and the kids waited.
I haven't dropped any frames this stream, by the way. This is the first stream that I've streamed almost 2 hours without dropping a single frame. That's crazy.
There in silence. When she didn't answer the door, Bill knocked again. But still, there was no answer. He turned to his kids and tried to smile because he didn't want to upset them, but he knew this was actually really weird. Kathy was never even late picking up their kids, so the idea that she just would blow it off entirely and then also not be home made no sense. Bill told the kids to wait at the door, and then he walked back to his car. He got a notepad, a pen, and a roll of tape out of the glove box and walked back to the building.
I got more law runes. Fuck yeah. Like, I actually really like the law rune drop. It's really good.
Bill wrote a note stating that he and the kids were there at 6:45 and would try again later. Then he stuck that note to Kathy's front door. Then he looked down at the
Okay, so the magic longbow special attack power shot is guaranteed to hit the target. This consumes 35% of the player's special attack energy. The special attack is also shared with the magic combo. Power shot uses a custom form of damage calculation that does not take into account offensive prayers when determining a player's maximum ranged hit. That's crazy. Wait, I'll bring a magic long next trip for sure. I think that spec will be way better. Guaranteed damage would be so busted here. Like, imagine 20 people pull up with magic longbows and just spec it 3 times in a row.
kids and asked them if they wanted to write their mom a note too. The little girl nodded and took the pen from her dad and scribbled onto the pad, and Bill tore out the page and stuck that to the door as well. The note read in large block letters, "Mommy, we love you." A day later, at around 9:30 a.m. on Monday morning, a woman working at a university health clinic named Sarah Bowers had a question for Kathy Lipscomb, who was one of the nurses that she worked with. So Sarah walked over to Kathy's office. But when she stepped inside, it was empty, and Sarah saw that a bunch of pink "while you were out" memos had piled up on Kathy's desk. Sarah walked in and picked up one of the messages and read it. It was from Kathy's husband, Bill. He had called in an hour earlier looking for his wife. And this, coupled with the stack of other notes that were very similar, gave Sarah a bad feeling in the pit of her stomach. Because Kathy was one of the most reliable nurses in the clinic. Like, where had she gone? Why hadn't she called in? Sarah picked up the phone and dialed Kathy's apartment number. She knew it because she and Kathy were actually friends outside of work. But the call just rang without an answer, and Sarah eventually hung up and returned to her desk. But over the next hour, Sarah could barely focus because all she could think about was Kathy. She kept looking up at the clock on the wall, watching the minutes tick by, hoping to see her friend walk into the office with a totally reasonable explanation for why she was late. Or even without an explanation. It didn't matter, so long as Sarah knew Kathy was okay. By the time the clock struck 10 that
Yeah, there's nobody selling ranging pots right now, and they're really fucking expensive. A 4-dose ranging pot is like 12k. So, yeah, they're really, really expensive. I'll just bring what I got and split them between you two, but I can't even go buy some more or anything like that. It's just so much money. Like 20 of them would be like 300k. It's fucking crazy. Oop, I just killed my cat. Well, that's okay, Carly. It's nobody's even online selling them. Yeah, nobody's even online. Sadly. Unless somebody on my friends list has some they're willing to like part with. More air runes. Based. 100 air runes. 105 air runes. Poggers. Okay. Yeah, I should bring an RD telly next time too.
That morning, and Kathy still had not shown up to work, Sarah could not stand it any longer. She got up and walked directly to the office of her and Kathy's boss, Dr. David Pearl. When Dr. Pearl saw Sarah standing at his door with a troubled look on her face, he asked her what was wrong. Sarah told him that Kathy was 2 hours late to work, and she was not answering her phone. And based on the notes on her desk that were piling up, her husband had also not heard from her either. At this, Dr. Pearl furrowed his brow. Kathy hadn't mentioned anything to him about being late or absent that day. It made him concerned that she might be sick, or maybe even injured, and couldn't get to the phone. So he asked Sarah to drive over to Kathy's apartment to check on her. Sarah sped over to Kathy's apartment, which was only about 10 minutes away. When she got there, she found the notes on the door and she knocked, but there was no answer. And so feeling kind of desperate, she ran to get the building manager and begged the woman to let her into her friend's apartment. Now, the manager...
Don't forget your magic longs, girlies.
Knew this was against company policy to do this, but she could see how upset Sarah was, so she unlocked Kathy's door and let Sarah go inside. And what Sarah found inside sent her panic through the roof. The apartment was perfectly neat and tidy. It didn't look like anything bad had happened here, but there was no sign of Kathy. In fact, it looked like she had not been home for days. At around the same time, about 15 miles away, an airman who worked at the local Air Force Base was driving to work down a 2-lane road outside of town when he noticed something lying in the grass on the side of the road. The airman pulled over to the shoulder and got out of his car to investigate. He walked off the road and into the grass and stared down into the weeds in utter disbelief. When he got over the initial shock, he ran back to his car, drove to the nearest house, and called the police. It took police officers from the Bexar County Sheriff's Office just a few minutes to arrive at the spot on the road where the airman had made his discovery. It was a strange location for a 911 call. The area was pretty much deserted, and this...
The long way. The long way.
This road was basically only used by Air Force personnel who drove in and out of the base. The police got out of their cruiser and walked to the side of the road into some spiky grass, and just a few feet in, they stopped. For a minute, they just stood there together in silence, looking down. Because there, lying in the weeds below, they saw the dead body of what looked like a teenage girl. She was naked and covered with ants, and they saw thin trails of blood on the sides of her mouth.
Those videos are so fucking good. Those are the best videos in the past decade.
But as horrifying as all of that was, the officers were actually much more fixated on something else. The girl's body was contorted. Her legs were bent at the knee, and her ankles were crossed, as if she had been sitting crisscross style. Her torso had been folded forward, so her chest was resting on her legs, and there was some kind of fabric under her foot. The officers had been to enough crime scenes to know that this girl's body had not just been tossed out of a car quickly by a person trying to get rid of evidence. Instead, her body had been carefully posed, like whoever killed her wanted her to be found. That afternoon, homicide investigator Sergeant Sal Marin sat in his office at the sheriff's station trying to ID the victim that police had just found on the side of the road. Marin had started off pretty confident that he would be able to figure out who it was pretty quickly. From the looks of things, the victim appeared to be a teenager, and she had been healthy, well cared for, and well groomed. In other words, she looked like she probably had a family who would definitely report her missing right away. But so far, Marin had not been able to find any missing persons reports that matched her description, and he thought that was strange. Just then, a secretary came by and dropped off the medical examiner's report from the autopsy along with the crime scene report. Marin grabbed the medical examiner's report first, and as soon as he opened it, he grimaced. The victim had been sexually assaulted and strangled to death, most likely on Sunday night, so one day before she was found. Her body appeared to have been posed.
I had a big ass burrito earlier with the tomato tortilla, one of the tomato basil tortillas, and some sausage, eggs, peppers, green onions, cheese. Oh, it was so good. Fucking corn, beans. It was amazing.
Soon after her death, before rigor mortis had set in, which is the stiffening of the body after.
It was huge too. I'm talking like it was like this big. You had a bulgogi rice bowl. I fucking love bulgogi. Bulgogi.
And to Marin,
So yummy.
this felt off. Usually, when young women were murdered, the killer was someone they knew, either a partner, friend, or a family member who acted out of rage or jealousy. Sadly, it wasn't unusual to see sexual assault or strangulation in cases like this, but it was extremely unusual to see such deliberate posing of the body. Killers who know their victims.
You can't say bugger. You can't. That is the most British fucking thing ever. Booger, you both said booger.
Often tried to cover them up, not display them. Posing a body was evidence of a careful and deliberate killer, acting with a plan. It was something that sadists and serial killers did, and it made Marin think that his killer was likely a stranger to the victim. And that was bad news, because killings by strangers were among the hardest to solve. The suspect pool was enormous, because the killer could be anyone. But as Marin continued through the report, he spotted what he thought might be his first clue. 4 strands of long red hair that were found on the girl's body. The girl was a blonde, which meant the red hairs could have come from her killer. The medical examiner had examined these hairs under a microscope, and they found they had been dyed red and they had no roots. And Marin wasn't sure what to make of this. The hair could be from a wig, or they could be from a woman's.
Wow, I don't think dude, I don't think I've ever seen a web take that long to slash. Holy fuck.
But Marin found it highly unlikely that his killer was female. He put the autopsy report down and picked up the crime scene report. And here, Marin found his second clue. The victim's clothing, which was a pair of Levi's jeans and a t-shirt, had been placed underneath her right foot by the killer. And what Marin noticed was the clothing had been rolled up rather than folded. Marin picked up a pen and wrote down the word military in the margins. Marin knew that people in the military were trained to roll up their clothes instead of folding them, because it was more compact and efficient. And the girl's body had been found on a road used almost exclusively by members of the Air Force. But before Marin got too deep into his theories on the killer, his first priority was to find the dead girl's identity. Only then would he be able to begin retracing her last moments and figuring out who she had contact with in her final days. So, over the next hour, he began reaching out to local radio and TV stations, asking producers to broadcast news of the crime every half hour, with a description of the young victim. He got the story placement at the top of the afternoon news. Later, at 5 p.m., when still no tips had come in, Marin was getting ready to leave and grab something to eat, but just as he was standing up from his desk, his office door swung open and a deputy handed him a single piece of paper. It was a missing persons report for a woman named Kathy Lipscomb. Her family had just called to report that no one had seen or heard from her since Saturday. And the second Marin started reading the report, he felt a rush of adrenaline. Kathy was petite, blonde, and had gone missing right around the time the medical examiner believed his victim had been killed. Marin thought Kathy might be his victim. But then his eyes settled on Kathy's age, and he felt his excitement drain away. Kathy was 29 years old, almost 30, but the dead woman found on the side of the road looked a full decade younger than that, at least, so Kathy didn't seem to be a match for his homicide victim. Still, Marin wondered if this missing persons report about Kathy Lipscomb was a different kind of clue in his case, because based on Kathy's physical description, it was eerie how similar the two women were. Marin felt his appetite vanish, and he sat back down at his desk. He was starting to fear that he could have a serial killer on his hands, who was hunting petite blonde women, and that Kathy could actually be his second victim. A few hours later, Sergeant Marin's efforts to get the description of his victim blasted out onto the airwaves paid off. By this point, Marin was at home on his couch watching TV when his phone rang. He walked into the kitchen and picked it up. It was the medical examiner's office calling to tell him that a woman watching the news had heard about the discovery of the body and realized that the description of the young victim matched a friend of hers perfectly. At first, this woman had not wanted to believe it, so she actually had gone to her friend's apartment to check on her. But when her friend did not answer the door, the woman had called the police. And the police directed this woman to the medical examiner's office, where she would positively identify the body. Marin's victim finally had a name.
Alrighty, let's
When
see how
Marin
this
heard the name,
goes.
he immediately turned to the coffee maker on his counter and started brewing a pot. He was going to have to go straight back to work. Because Marin did not have two victims on his hands, he had just one. The dead body of the girl by the side of the road and the missing Kathy Lipscomb were one and the same. Kathy, despite being 29 years old, was just unusually young looking. This meant that Marin's theory of the case, that he might be dealing with a serial killer, had become a bit more unlikely. He still viewed the posing of the body as evidence that the killer was a stranger to the victim, acting on a calculated plan rather than a sudden burst of emotion. But he was down to just one victim. And now that his victim did have an identity, Marin had to do the part of his job.
Okay, let's check out this magic long spec. Because I'm curious now. Oh yeah, 12, 10, 14, 2. I don't think you can spec 3 times in a row. It's 35%. Very good, wow. Yeah, that's actually nuts. Already half dead off the rip. Yeah, that's busted. And I think I can spec again, like right now. Yeah. Easy. So, oh, that's so good. Oh my god. If you spec'd, you definitely did.
Job that he hated the most, and that was to tell his victim's family about the murder.
Okay, what if I do main hand it? Is it really that bad? 0, 12, hey.
About an
0,
hour later, Marin met Kathy's husband, Bill
9,
Lipscomb, at the sheriff's station. Marin was
8.
aware that
Okay,
Bill
I'm
was a
hitting
deputy
good on
colonel
there.
in the Air
Holy
Force,
moly.
and that he was very young to be a master sergeant, which was a pretty high rank. So Marin knew that the smartest way to approach Bill was to be formal and polite, rather than aggressive, even though divorce was a classic motive for murder, and Bill was a natural suspect. So, in the interview room, Marin reached out and shook Bill's hand and told him he was very sorry about his wife. He promised to do everything he could to bring her killer to justice. But while Marin was giving Bill his condolences, he was also looking Bill over very carefully, visually checking his arms, his hands, and his face for any signs of injury, like bruises, scratches, or fingernail marks that might be evidence of a recent struggle. But, except for the fact that Bill was pale and sweating, he appeared to be physically unharmed. Marin opened up his notepad and asked Bill where he was.
Oh my gosh, yo, what the fuck?
First things first. Let's get this established. Let's get this out the way. Men are not protectors. You can be a protector and be a predator at the same time. We know that, but that's the mantra, and we're going to repeat it until you motherfuckers get it through your thick skull. Secondly, men need to wake up and start to realize that, like, you guys aren't in the, like, Like men have bought into this idea that every man is stronger than every woman, and like women can't defend themselves, and women are just these dainty, frail, beings and creatures, and they think like every woman is going to fold up into a damn pretzel anytime a man shows up or whatever the case may be. Nah, some of these women is punching y'all lights out, and I'm all for it. Some of these women is knocking y'all blocks off, and I'm for it. And if you guys want to continue to think that every woman is equal, I've said this a million times about men. Men can't fight either. Like generally, like as a group, men can't fight. Men don't know how to fight. Most men ain't strong. Yeah, y'all think men think they're strong because most men are stronger than most women. Okay, fine. But we're talking about brute strength when it comes to like combat, right? Or whatever the case may be, specifically like in that arena. Okay, fine. Most men have more upper body strength. It favors them, yada yada yada. Okay. But men like comparatively to actual strong men aren't strong. Like men are weak. Men are weak.
Okay, main-handing Magic Long is not the play. I'm gonna be honest. It is not the play at all.
Just because you are stronger than a woman doesn't mean you're strong. And just because women are women doesn't mean that they are not strong. Right? Like there are tons of strong women out here, and there are tons of women who are stronger than men. And furthermore, there are tons of women who are they're just better. They're more skilled. You know what I'm saying? Like it's just a reality, but it's just hilarious listening to men because men are so binary when it comes to this. Like man strong, woman weak. Cool, ugga. That's why you got that. That's why y'all out here getting y'all fucking blocks knocked off by some of these women.
Saw a white man trying to snap a black woman's neck outside of a club, allegedly because he got rejected. He tried to lean in for a kiss. That's kind of what it looked like. She beat his fucking ass, like really bad. It was crazy as shit. Actually, I said, "God damn!" But people was kikiing in the comments, and I don't find that funny. He literally tried to kill her. Like I see it's funny because she ended up beating his ass. But imagine if he would have been successful with snapping her neck. Like I can't even fucking imagine that. What is up with these fucking demons? Like they just walk in the earth and just living life like they supposed to, trying to fucking take people out of here. I'm glad she was as strong as she was because she was beating that man's ass. That was a big man. She was beating his ass. Because if she wasn't, anything could happen to her. Like, and I can't imagine living with that trauma of almost dying because he tried to kill her. He tried to snap her neck.
Are you guys peeping how all the men after she fucking whomped them? Look at all those men around him, not around her, consoling her like, "Ma'am, are you okay? He just tried to snap your neck." Nope. All
What? Those were my lobsters. Those were my lobsters. No, you can have them. That's okay.
the men go to the man's rescue, but we the protectors of men. That's what I be saying all the time. Men are the protectors of men. Yes, we protect men. Absolutely.
Because if she wasn't, anything could happen to her. Like, and I can't imagine living with that trauma of almost dying because he tried to kill her. He tried to snap her neck. The shit was actually kind of fucking crazy. I never seen nothing like that before in my life. The man thought he was in a fucking movie or some shit. I don't know. He thought he was a fucking ninja. I have no idea what he thought he was. But I don't know. That shit is kind of traumatic. She probably need to go to therapy or something like that. Hopefully that man is in jail. I don't know. This is getting too crazy out here for me.
I bet anything he's not in jail. I, I bet anything that man did not get arrested. Nobody called the authorities, unless she did. You know what I'm saying? But like, yeah, nobody around there called the police. But I can't help but just trip off of the fact that all those able-bodied men walked over there to that man that got fucking slumped by this woman, and nobody walked over to the woman like, "Are you okay, ma'am?" Damn, that shit be speaking volumes. It's so loud and clear what like the message that men send. This is what men do. This is a physical representation of how men coalesce around violent and dangerous men. how they protect and run cover for violent and dangerous men all the time, while simultaneously touting themselves to be the protector. No, nah, that's propaganda I'm not buying into. That's propaganda you can't sell me. I don't give a fuck. You can't give it to me for free. I'm not taking it. I'm not accepting it. That's crazy. That is wild. That is very wild that they did that. Very wild that they didn't go to her and nobody jumped up to protect her. Nobody did. Now, maybe you could say it happened in the blink of an eye because she did whoop his ass pretty fast. Hey, dude, hold on. Let's not brush past the fact of how quickly she sprung into action. She beat the brakes off that fool. She beat the brakes off that fool in less than 30 seconds. That was amazing. I love that. And they both was drunk, so it was a fair fight. Oh, he was drunk. I don't give a fuck. She was drunk too. The night was over. I'm sure she done had her fill of drinks too. She had her share of drinks too. That was a fair fight. She beat. Well, I mean, she was clearly more suited for the fight, but it was a fair fight. Oh my God, man. Damn, that was funny. But anyways, that like y'all really just be saying like the quiet part be so loud. The elephant be in the room and I can see it. We all see it. It's there. Y'all don't give a fuck about protecting women. We don't. With men as a group, we don't care. This is just men being
One
rude.
more kill. One more kill. One more kill. We'll get a D-Mad. We'll get a fucking D-Mad.
And dope fiends still in their teens. Shook niggas turn witness. Real men's mind their own business.
What the fuck?
It was chaos. Bodies being thrown about, some still strapped in their chairs, others thrown from their chairs, smoke, fire.
He bit me and I lost feeling in my left side of my face. And it was like I was some piece of meat that they had gnawed on.
Girl, Pink, you got honey roasted by that motherfucker. Holy shit.
7,000 feet, and I think the possibility is that we could go straight down. There is, it was.
Wow, I hit a 3 with the spec. That's nice.
We had no flight controls at all. They were all absolutely useless. It's something that can't happen, so it's something we didn't practice or train for. And the first thing is, how do we keep this thing in the sky?
Hi, viewer 200. How are you doing? I'm just about to end stream here. I've been live for 2.5 hours, but I'm getting real tired. So this is the last kill that we're gonna do before Carly hops off. I think I'm gonna hop off too, but how are you doing tonight? It's nice to see you in here. You can sell me 10 range pots? Oh my god. Yes, please. Holy shit. Can you come to Artie? Strength Amy from KBD? Oh my god. From your stash? You're a fucking legend. How much do you want per pot? Yeah, 10 is like the perfect amount so that we can do KBD some other time. Okay, do I have other gems in here? I don't. Okay. So, I'll keep the placeholder axe. That'll be nice. And now I have a placeholder rune axe and a placeholder rune pick, too. So that's wicked. What can I replace them with? I don't even know. I guess they're fine there. That's okay. And then I'll alch this. Yeah, I'm in world 11 right now. For pots? Really, Carly? You don't have to give me any money. You don't have to. Oh, I got 11 D-bones, but only 9 D-hides. What the hell? You're a fucking legend. Oh my god, it spells boobs. No way. Oh shit. I got those. I got those. That's crazy. Okay, let's do how's just like 12k each? That's standard price for 4 dose, so titty boobs, yeah. Real shit. No way, Pepper Pie grew up. Let's go. You're 420.69. Oh my god. That's like paying for all the pots, girls. Oh my gosh. I have to get a kitten. Well, yeah, let's go do that then. Let's go do that for you. I'll just sell it later. Sell it after we go to Varrock. My cat. My cat, Pepper Pie. Where you at, viewer? Where you at, viewer? Are you logged in right now? Didn't see that? Oh. Okay, Carly. I got you, girl. Okay, let me get a Varrock Telly out again.
I'd been waiting for 6 hours to get on the plane, and immediately after they handed me my ticket, they said, we have no more seats available. We need everyone to get on the plane because they're running late. So I just felt relieved more than anything to get that last ticket.
Beautiful day. I think it was cloudless day all the way to Chicago. We had taken off. We were about an hour into the flight. Had 296 what they call souls on board. They were
Pink from Legends. It's a Demon Bane weapon. Oh, I'm DCing. Oh, I finally started dropping frames, huh? Oh yeah, I dropped some frames. Good there. That was the first time I dropped frames all stream. Yeah, this is holy water pink. You get it. You can make it with a book of binding after legends.
Eight, 11 crew members, and the rest were passengers.
Al came back into the galley to brief with me, and I remember thinking, oh, I've flown with him before. He's really, he's really a good captain. It was just like, it'll be a good trip.
And the captain told us there would be very little turbulence, if any. So I expected a smooth 2-hour ride to Chicago.
We were being vectored by Minneapolis to get behind traffic going to Chicago. They turned us back to head to Mason City, and right after we leveled out from the turn, there's this loud explosion, and followed by vibration. And I thought a bomb had gone off. It was that loud.
And then you could feel the reverberation from it as well. You could feel the shaking and shuddering, the vibrating inside the cabin for a good 5 or 6 seconds. And then we started.
Don't tell me you didn't bring a telly, Pink. Hello. What did the buffalo say when he sent his kid to college? What? Bison? How did I not see that one coming? That's really good. Oh my god. Bison. Holy shit. Finally some jokes. I'm sorry, I couldn't think of anything, Pink. I couldn't think of nothing. Yeah, viewer, when you get the chance to log in, I'll definitely buy some range pots from you, but I'm probably gonna get off in a minute, so if you're not on right now, then yeah, I'll just buy it some other day. My iconic stand-up? Okay, I'll do some stand-up, okay? Just watch the stream. I'll do stand-up. Listen, I'm gonna do stand-up really quick. Okay. There you go. There's the stand-up. Quick stand-up routine for you. That's how I stand up. I got a blue one. Do I want that? No, I don't. Even funnier this time, I just sped it up, you know, I sped my act up. Boo! LT says boo. Thank you, thank you. Oh, I got a brown one. Not really want him either. I'm sorry, I don't really want him. Okay, it's telling me to just keep the brown one. I'll just take brown. I got double brown, so. What can I name this guy? This is definitely a dude. Did your cat die? No, Pepper Pie grew up, so I sold her. Because I already have a black cat. Wait. Name my cat for me. You gotta name mine too, sorry. Dusty. Okay. Okay. Dusty and Greg. Thank you, Queen. What a good guy, holy. He dusty as hell. Look at them dusty ass knees he's got, holy shit. I love you, Carly. Sleep well. Have a good night, girl.
Go into a drop, not a free fall drop. You could feel the plane start to go down, ease down, and the thought hit me that a terrorist has planted a bomb. It's been detonated, and that's it for everybody. People don't survive bombs going off in planes. We're going to hit the ground sometime very soon, and we'll all be gone at that point.
About that time, Dudley, our second officer, called my attention to his hydraulic panel, and we'd lost all the hydraulics, which is something that cannot happen. We had no flight controls at all. They were all absolutely useless. And that didn't make any sense to us. It's something that can't happen, so it's something we didn't practice or train for. And the first thing is, how do we keep this thing in the sky?
Alrighty, Pink. I love you. Thank you for hanging up tonight. Good night, everybody in chat. L2 viewers. Sorry for unknown ready you guys got here, but I am just exhausted tonight. So that's it for me. Had a lot of fun doing KBD. Got a clip in there with the white party hat, like me spazzing out. I don't know what the fuck happened, but that was pretty funny. So I might like cut that out of the stream and put it in the next video, which by the way I have tons of clips for, so it's gonna be another fucking feature-length documentary film post special attacks, so that'll be fun whenever I'm in the mood to edit it. But it's pretty much done. You know, one more day of getting some clips here and there, and I'll finish it off. So yeah, thank you for watching. Bye bye now.